And welcome to our second part of the series here, February 2nd. We figured since we gave you our number one favorite, it kind of stuck up. We had to give you our number two favorite as well. So,
Dude, you know how hard it is for us to post on February 3rd, 4th, and 5th when you keep saying February 2nd?
I know. It's Groundhog Day, though, so we're going to get another video.
So when we post this on February 14th and we say February 2nd, it's Groundhog Day.
Well, there'll just be like a switch, and we'll put a new intro in it, and it might be posted again.
All right, so I'm Brett Blackman,
Jeff Lewandowski.
Merkel Institute. What's Merkel? I'm going to start saying that
question.
every time, just get used to it. All right, so we're going to talk about our second favorite.
Yep, second favorite.
So you went first last time. How about I go first this
You
time?
go first.
I'm going first.
Brett,
Brett.
what's your second favorite coin or company out there that's using blockchain?
Well, I mean, until yesterday, Tether.
What is that it? I mean, what about BitPetite?
BitPetite was good too. BitConnect, fantastic. Loved them all.
Right.
Made so much money. We didn't touch any of that. Now, I will say this. With Tether, USDT, I wasn't opposed to the concept
I love the concept.
with the ability to hold something
Yeah.
relatively stable. Now, what was really interesting, there is a new coin coming out, and I actually met some of the founders and people that are involved in it, called the stable coin.
Like a horse stable?
Kind of, right?
I like farm. I like agriculture.
farm.
You know I'm a farmer. You know I'm that guy.
Dude, organic.
Right.
It's an
Perfect.
organic stable.
Organic coins.
But no, it's a good concept, and there needs to be something like that that allows the volatility to at least a place for safe haven when you need to move in or out of a transaction, especially since the ability to move in and out of fiats is darn near impossible. So I don't know if stablecoins are going to do anything. I don't know anything about them. I haven't researched them. I've just met them and talked to them at some trade shows and events. But I did use Tether.
So did I. I've used it.
I mean, in and out of transactions.
I've used it on HitBTC.
I did. Me too. Hit
Yep.
BTC. I've used it on. I think Bittrex has it and Binance.
Yeah.
I think both have it. So I've used it. But back to our real topic, our favorite. None of those are my favorite. Ethereum, actually, and I know that's probably not surprising, but I actually have a pro and con of Ethereum. So Ethereum's kind of stuck in the middle. Ethereum is right now no different than Bitcoin. That's what it is. It's a value currency. That's
Yeah.
all it is. It came out with the concept with smart contracts, but it can't actually do them very well. The only thing it can do with a smart contract is create other currencies,
Yeah.
other tokens. They can't actually do anything at the moment. And then on top of that, with that, because they did it on proof of work, you have the velocity issue, the medium of exchange issue, which is what's really funny is Vitalik, who is Ethereum, came out with that whole theory on top of it. So he's like,
Yeah.
okay, we built this, and by the way, this is why it won't work. I mean,
So who's got ideas out there?
I mean, it's fantastic. So I like that he knows what they have to do. So here's what I'm saying. Ethereum, if they move to proof of stake with solutions inside of their voting to eliminate hard forks without majority consensus and so forth, which is Bitcoin's major issue.
Right.
But some sort of community-driven upgrade system, solutions, and so forth. As long as they continue to go down that path, because they were first to market and because they were the community that they have behind them, absolutely could be huge.
Yep.
However, if they don't, you have Cardano, who is absolutely doing it the right way, because if you don't understand, the guy who helped Vitalik build it in the Miami house when they did it is the CEO of Cardano. Not only does he know Ethereum inside and out, he knows exactly what was wrong with Ethereum inside and out, and he's fixing that through peer reviews and through academics. So Ethereum's in this weird spot. Do they compete with Bitcoin, or do they compete with Cardano? If they can do what Cardano's doing, they have a really big leg up because of the community and first to market. But if they try to compete and stay where they're at with Bitcoin, they're dead in the water because there's only going to be one proof of work network.
Yeah, you know, that's interesting. When I think of Ethereum, I think of them more in line with Cardano and EOS and the foundational platform solutions rather than how I think of Bitcoin.
I would agree. The problem is that their technology is the same as Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Proof of work.
No, it's an interesting deal. You know what? I like them too. I mean, you look at all of the, I don't know what the numbers are at right now in terms of, I think there's 1,400-ish assets on CoinMarketCap.
1,506. I'm looking at it right now with
1,506.
8,456 exchanges.
And I've right, there's more exchanges again than there are actual assets. But of that 1,500, it breaks down. There's a very small number of coins and a very disproportionate number of tokens, and then 90% of those tokens are riding Ethereum. So right now, that first mover advantage that you talk about, at least companies are starting on Ethereum with an ERC20 token because it's probably the most defined, easiest to use,
Absolutely.
quickest for a company to come on board with. So
Well, it's one of the only ones that actually can do at least the creation of the token. Even Cardano can't do that at the moment.
And I did love Vitalik's quote, you know, when he came out and he said, you know, everybody's talking about who's going to be the Ethereum killer. And he said, you know, listen, Ethereum is going to be the Ethereum killer.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Any company willing to kill themselves to reinvent themselves is a company that you want to pay attention to. Because they understand what they've produced now is not what they're going to have produced in the future. And that's brilliant. And he's one of the smartest people on the planet, obviously. Not 19, 20-year-old kid.
I know, right?
Changing the way the world works.
I wonder how much Ethereum he actually has.
You know what? The one thing I was listening to a podcast or a video the other day that for the last 3.5 years or so, he has basically lived on an airplane. He doesn't
just travels around everywhere.
Yeah, because he doesn't actually do a lot of the programming himself. He's just the figurehead now, and so I mean he's had a tough road ahead of him for the last couple of years or so.
Think that's a private plane?
Maybe, probably fueled by Ethereum.
It's amazing what's happening here in the blockchain. It actually replaces biofuels.
Yeah, of course. All right, so mine's Ethereum.
Yep.
What do you got?
Mine is Litecoin.
Uh-oh.
It's been Litecoin
Little
for
Charlie.
a while. Chucky Lee, he's my guy. You know, he's isn't necessarily the most entertaining guy to watch, but he's brilliant. And so the things that he's done, and I mean, you may or may not know that he was actually one of the founding members of Coinbase also.
Okay.
And so he ran the engineering group for Coinbase, helped them get off and do what they were doing, and has since left that post to go focus on Litecoin. He said, you know, I've got a lot of thoughts on this, and Litecoin is also the second coin ever created. So Bitcoin was first. Old Chucky Lee was a big fan of it, and he's actually a huge fan still of Bitcoin, and wanted to create something that was a little different. So Bitcoin wants to be essentially the crypto gold. And so he said, well, there's crypto gold, that's a long-term store of value used for big transactions. I want to create something where somebody can go buy a cup of coffee and not have to worry about the transactions. So Litecoin is 4 times as many as coins, 4 times as many coins, and 4 times as fast. And I don't know if you've ever used it, but it's the one that I transacted most. And the transactions that I've just had have been faster than credit card.
So funny that you talk about Litecoin. So next week we do at Health Splash, the company I'm CEO and co-founder of. We are doing a deal where we're really getting our employees involved in crypto, just so they understand, not just Health Splash stuff, but everything.
Beautiful.
And so we're giving them all a little bit of crypto, and so I was talking to our staff, and I'm like, I think I'm going to do Bitcoin. No, I can't do Bitcoin because it's too much. So we took a chunk of Bitcoin, moved it to Litecoin, so we could actually do the transactions through Litecoin because it's faster and it's cheaper.
Yeah.
So I had one transaction fee on Bitcoin, which is really expensive, and then my Litecoin stuff is super cheap.
So I was just helping. I think I told you the story earlier. You know, a new person getting into the blockchain space, friend of mine, and as I was helping them with their transactions, got them an Exodus wallet, and opened it up and started doing some of the transactions, moving things between Bitcoin and Litecoin. And then looking at the transaction fees associated with the network. And so that while they weren't necessarily $30, of which Bitcoin has gotten up to at certain points, I think it was like $3.15 for a transaction on Bitcoin, and 3 cents for the transaction cost on Litecoin for the same amount. And so you take a look at the speed, the cost of the network, Charlie Lee's involvement He's hinted. You can use another guy, by the way, if you're watching people on Twitter. He's definitely put Charlie Lee's Twitter account in there because he gives little hints about what's going on. He got a lot of flack here last month for dropping all of his interest in Litecoin. So obviously, as the founder, he probably had quite a bit. So he cashed out
I saw that.
and also gave a significant amount that he didn't cash out to the Litecoin Foundation, among others. And so he did that because he said, I don't want to have the appearance of
Pumping it.
yeah, that I'm pumping it or that I'm coming out and telling news about Litecoin in a positive way because I'm going to financially benefit from it. So he didn't want that conflict of interest or the appearance of that conflict
He's like,
of interest.
I read that. He's like, I already made enough money. I'm good forever. So
Yeah.
this is all about where we're going and what we're doing.
So again, maybe I'm picking up these breadcrumbs that he's leaving on Twitter and looking into them way more than I should. But he's clearly come out and said in the Twitter feed that he's looking at partnering with online retailers. He's
Some big
looking
companies,
at,
maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, and then again, breadcrumbs again. I don't know whether this will turn into anything, but again, he's one of the founders of, or original people. I don't know if he's a founder, but original people in Coinbase. And now there's an individual from Coinbase who has a position on the board of Facebook. And so I don't know whether that means anything, but again, trying to look in and seeing where there are opportunities.
Maybe that's why Facebook banned everything crypto, because they're launching their own.
Maybe, who knows? But
Even in the thing they said, we're very interested in blockchain technology for our own use. We're banning
Yes.
everybody else.
yes, right. So look at it as a pure advertiser. So they're not advertisers, they're online community marketplace. Let's Amazon, for example. So the average cost, just going back to the core fundamentals of why I love this, the average cost of a credit card transaction today, which is almost 100%, it's probably upper 90s of what Amazon does today. Amazon accounts for 50% of every dollar spent online, 50 cents of all of it goes through Amazon.
Are they?
All online transactions.
Do they do adult content now?
Because
I was thought 35% would.
It's probably the other 50%.
I mean, I'm just really confused.
But you think about that. So the average cost of a credit card transaction is somewhere between 2 and 3.5%. And so you get 3 cents versus 2% of a transaction. That's billions of dollars of savings if you consider it in its aggregate for a company like Amazon or anybody else who does any sizable transactions. So I think that if I was in that space, I would be looking, and I think Amazon is already. We'd see that they've got Amazon crypto.
The one
Amazon
thing that I'm
Bitcoin.
curious about in Litecoin, because Litecoin is still proof of work, which means it burns up a lot of energy. Proof of stake is definitely where a transactional system is going to eventually go, I would think, because it's more efficient for energy purposes. And then also personal transactional systems like Railblocks.
Yeah.
Did you look at Railblocks?
I'm not that familiar with it.
So Railblocks actually just launched on Binance yesterday, I think, or in the last couple of days. But peer-to-peer, it's more of a peer-to-peer transaction with a smaller validation network. So the cost is literally, they actually have no transaction fees.
Oh, really?
No transaction fees on Railblocks, yeah. It's a pretty interesting concept. I'm not sure exactly how they're going to do that long term, but right now there's none.
That's free. It's Bernie Sanders coin.
Right? Right?
Railblocks. If you like Bernie, vote Rail.
Oh, man. Yeah, so but I do like Litecoin. No matter what, if you're new to the space, if you stick to the 4 core, which are going to be in Coinbase, and then if you want something outside of that that's different, which is Cardano, but if you tend to stay in the top 10 of your market caps, which right now top 10 market caps are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, Bitcoin Cash, Cardano, Neo, Stellar, Litecoin, EOS, and NIM. If you stick to those, market caps are so big, for them to go to zero it would take a lot, and they have such a huge community. You're probably going to be a little safer, but I don't own all of those actually.
I own quite a few of them, but that's going to save us for the next video, perhaps. Let us know what you think. Should we do our number 3, 4, and 5 favorite? Does this help you guys?
Groundhog 3, Groundhog 4.
It'll probably be done on February 2nd.
Probably might be wearing the same clothes.
It's a good chance. Actually, I really like this outfit that I'm in. The boots are in every video, so that might have to be a staple.
There we go. All right. Signing out?
Signing out.
All right. See you later. What's Merkle?